Welcome back, Rock Raiders. I'm your host, RR Slugger, and today we are expanding our HQ to include one of the most requested structures for this series, the support station. Compared to the ambiguity present in the previous three models, the support station is remarkably straightforward. There are a few minor details that had us raising an eyebrow, but we'll get to that later. For now, let's just cover the basics. In-game, the support station serves as the source of everything a Rock Raider needs to survive: oxygen and sandwiches. The localized terraforming mechanisms of the support station oxygenate the air for miners, allowing extended missions into the deep underground. All that digging can sure work up an appetite though, so in order to keep everyone at peak performance, the support station also serves as the home away from home when it comes to refreshments. But in keeping with the turbulent development of Rock Raiders, the original function of the support station was quite different. Initially referred to as the barracks, this structure's germinal purpose was to serve as the training center for all Rock Raider specializations. You might also notice that at this stage of development, buildings could be upgraded, just like vehicles. You might also notice that this early render of the barracks is missing the dome that adorns the final version. It's unclear if this was a part of the aforementioned building upgrade system or not, but I find it intriguing nonetheless. Just like the power station, the support station rests on a dark gray 8x8 brick, though admittedly this structure spills over considerably. As a result, this model isn't as compatible with 4990 as one might hope, but I'm sure it can be done with little modification. Besides that, I think the only other part I want to make mention of here is this printed 30303. While technically not set exclusive to the tunnel transport, the limited release of the Kabaya sets did little to add to the supply worldwide. The far more common unprinted version can be used in a pinch, of course. With that being said, we're ready to move on to the parts list and build. Overall, I think the support station easily stands as the cream of the crop when it comes to the game-exclusive models. So much about the build is solid and intuitive. To me, the support station feels like a long-lost retail set, far more than any other structure we've looked at so far. There is one element of the build that garners some derision, however, and it has to do with the dome add-on that we see in the final design. These black 1x2 slopes sit fairly unsupported and give me flashbacks to the power station when trying to attach to the top. Placing a 1x4 brick on the bottom of the printed 30303 guarantees a perfect fit every time. There's no evidence to support the existence of this brick in the game model or render, so this is a purely baseless addition, though it does improve quality of life when building. Another detail I wanted to make mention of is located within the central wall. 2 printed chevron panels adorn the support station, one on the interior and one on the exterior. The oddity comes from their connection points. For the exterior, it is connected to a light gray 30236. However, the interior chevron connects to a 2540 instead. There's nothing inherently strange about either of these connections, but it is perplexing that the designers chose to use both rather than committing to one. The end result is that the interior chevron sits one plate higher than it otherwise would if the 30236 brick had been used. There must have been some reason this was important to the designers, as it feels like they went out of their way to accommodate this. It's even in the texture files. This is a head scratcher for sure, and remains a bit of an enigma. The final contentious point concerning the support station comes down to the orientation of this printed control panel. Does the joystick go on the left, or does the joystick go on the right? Luckily for us, DDI liked to flex a bit and render this print in 3D, complete with a joystick protruding outwards. All we need to do is to spot this element on the render and we'll have our answer. If we take another look at that render, we will see, nothing. Unfortunately, this support pillar obscures our view. Not to worry, we still have that rare preliminary render from before. Enhance. Enhance? Between that yellow ladder and the amount of artifacting, I don't think we can say for certain one way or the other here. No problem, let's look at the in-game model. If you walk up to a support station in-game, this is what you see. It's dark, but it's definitely there. So, left side it is, right? Just to be safe, let's see what the texture files say. Oh ho! It turns out that the game model calls for this texture, but mirrors it in the process. So, which is it then? Do we go with the joystick on the right like we see in the texture file, or do we go with the joystick on the left as it actually appears in-game? Well, maybe we're looking for the wrong thing here. There are other notable details on this print design, such as the dark gray cavity for this yellow button. If we refocus our lens to look for this and assess the render again, aha! So, joystick on the right it is. Honestly, that makes sense as it aligns with what we see in the texture file too. Remember, the texture files were likely based on details from a physical model, whereas the game models that wear them often have a litany of errors or missing elements. There's a reason our priority list looks like this when reverse engineering these builds. Well, I can't give you your time back that was wasted listening to a slug drone on and on about which way to place a tile piece on your Lego toy. What I can give you, however, is my wholehearted recommendation for the support station. Everything that follows in this series will be trying to live up to the standard set with this model. It's a true diamond in the rough. Upgrading our support station will give us access to some unique vehicles, but before we head in that direction, we need to take a look at a couple more structures. While the support station is often a desperately essential component of Rock Raiders HQ, these next two fall firmly in the non-essential but nice to have category. Let's hope their physical builds are nice to have as well. I've been your host, RR Slugger, and I'll see you next time for some more high adventure deep underground.